Welcome to this presentation about what's new in Odoo 14 Inventory. My name is Michael, I'm the manager of the expertise, and I'm first and foremost a functional consultant, fond of the inventory and purchase apps. Please make sure to leave your questions in the chatter next to the screen so that I get them answered by the end of the presentation. So when we talk about the inventory app, we talk about the most sold app in value terms at Odoo. It's worth 14% of Odoo's monthly recurring revenue. If you look at this graph, you see that the inventory app comes first before other important apps such as the accounting or studio. That's the reason why it's one of the main focuses, and it was one of the main focuses over the past year. We have a dedicated product owner, dedicated R&D team working on it, which means that this is a priority topic for us. But more importantly, we see recently that there is a shift towards online sales. That means that this shift will have an impact on the way the companies operate, on the way they organize their supply chain. And when we look at this graph, the evolution and the number of visits in billion worldwide, we see that as of April 2020, when the pandemic hit, there was a steep increase up until June 2020. That means that the recent pandemic has changed the customer habits and behaviors. And that's the story of my hometown beyond the statistics. When COVID-19 hit, we went into lockdown, and the stores were not used to actually selling online. They were used to a brick and mortar approach, and they had to adjust, to adapt to the new rule of business. And for that reason, they decided to go online. And we see that even though the activity has resumed, the sales and the turnover is not back to what it used to be. The primary reason is that the customers, they are now used to go online and to make their purchase on the e-commerce platform. And second, they are reluctant to go in physically in the stores despite the sanitary measures. So we see that the recent pandemic has increased and has accentuated that shift towards online sales, and it means that it will bring a lot of challenges for SMEs and large corporations. And the pain points that we typically see here is that 23% of SMEs are at the most basic level of digital engagement, and only 10% of them use a software to connect sales with supply chain operations. Which means that first, the companies don't have any visibility on their suppliers. They don't know whether their suppliers are on time, on budget, on quality, and they don't have any proper follow-up on the receipts, which means they don't have any clue which suppliers they should add or remove from their purchase network. And that's, of course, an important decision that you have to take as a company within your purchase department. The second pain point that we identify is that they don't have any forecast. They don't plan in advance, they don't know what are the future disruptions in their supply chain, they don't know whether the production might get stuck. And if they do, they don't plan in real time. Typically what they do is that they extract the information from different sources, and they have to collect it back into an Excel file, and due to its size, it's typically on the verge of collapsing. Which means that they don't do it on a real time, they do it maybe on a weekly or monthly basis, but that's too little if you want to plan in real time and accordingly to the market. Also, another pain point that we see for companies during our implementation is that they have poor stock accuracy. That goes with poor data management. They don't have any lead times that are encoded in the system. They don't have minimum stock rules that are set, which means that their stock accuracy is quite low. And one of the most important pain points, in my opinion, is the fact that still most of their processes are paper-based. Paper-based meaning that, for instance, when they are in the outbound process, the operator prints the delivery slip, the picking report. He will write down on the report that he printed the units that he processed, for instance, during the outbound process. And then, after the operation is completed, he re-encodes into the system what was actually done. That means that nothing is synced, you have very long lead times, and this way of working is prone to human errors, to mismatches, and of course to longer lead times. So that means that your outbound process has no clear track and trace. And finally, another pain point that we see is the fact that the centralization is a vain word. As I said before, only 10% of companies connect sales with logistics, but that's the same about finance and logistics. Quite often I see, for instance, the accounting software, the finance software running on Sage on one side, and on the other side you have Excel sheets, in-house software, or even AS400 still. So you see that there is no connection. The different departments are operating in silos. and there is no clear centralization. So that's the reason why at Odoo we decided to work on the barcode app first. We revamped completely the batch picking so that it's easier to group the items into different locations when you go and pick them. We have keyboard shortcuts so that you can process faster the picking within the barcode app. We have the new cluster picking that allows you to actually put the items into reusable boxes. That's a very important feature for companies operating in the e-commerce world. And finally, we have a quick picking creation feature that allows you to quickly create pickings from the barcode interface. So let's see how it works directly in the system in Odoo. So here, if I go in my products, you can see that I have 2 products with units in stock. I can actually see that I have some operations that have been already prepared for this product. So you see here the latest that I created, 38, 37, as well as 36, 35, and 34 are pre-created for those products. You see here, for instance, I'm going to group these 2 pickings that I need to prepare into a batch picking, as I said before. So I create a new batch transfer, which is assigned to one of the employees. I confirm. I go into the batch transfers. I have batch transfer number 13, and I just confirm. And as you can see, everything is grouped into one view where you have all the detailed operations that are ordered by a location so that you can group the different items per location. The next step, of course, will be for the operator to go in the barcode app. I will switch to the barcode view so that you can see how it feels to use the barcode app in Odoo. Then I move on to the batch transfers. I open the latest that I created, and I'm in the barcode view that allows me to see that I have to pick all these items in shelf 1. The first possibility that I have is that I can scan the Amber product with the barcode scanner. As you can see, it adds unit after unit, or I can simply use the keyboard shortcut so that I process all the items at once. Here you can see with the colors, I can tell that I processed one of the orders. I can do the same with the other, and then here I've picked all the items that I needed to pick into shelf 1. I move on to the next shelf, shelf 2 here, and I can do the same. I can process the 36 units of the lager beer and the next 36 units of the other order. And then I just validate, and I've processed all at once my 2 orders directly using the batch transfer. I also have another batch transfer here that is open. It's almost the same. I have to pick the items in shelf 1, but the difference here is that I'm going to put the first 24 units from the first order into what we call a cluster pack for the cluster picking. And as you can see here, I've put the 24 units into cluster pack 10, and I can put the next one into, for instance, cluster pack 6. So I've put per order the items into different boxes. I move on to the next page, and here, as you can see, for the next order, it automatically tells me, why don't you put it into cluster pack 10? That's actually what I'm going to do. Yeah, okay, so I will just do it this way by selecting the destination package. So you can see that you can do it as well manually, and I will select the next destination package, cluster pack 6. So as you can see, in the second step, I've added the products again in the same reusable boxes per order, and I just validate my batch picking. So as you can see, it's very fast and easy to actually prepare your products before you put them in the packing zone. The last thing that I wanted to show you that I think is important and that will help a lot of users is the fact that you can create quickly internal transfer directly from the barcode interface. So I can add a product that goes, so I can select any product, a customizable desk. I can say that I want to transfer 5 of them, and I want to move it from stock to shelf 2. I just confirm, I validate, and I've created my transfer like this very easily directly from the barcode interface. So I'm just going to leave the barcode interface and reload the regular view for the next demo. So here you've seen all the things that we made for the barcode, and I think it's going to be a game changer for you if you are about to use Odoo 14. as you can see, we have also improved the inventory app. So here, for instance, we have created a view, a forecasted product view, where you see all the ins and outs for a product. We also added, for instance, the fact on the reordering rules that we will take into account the supplier lead time so that we don't create overstock in the system. And more importantly, the reordering rules now are working in real time. That means that every time you will sell the items and the system does a reservation, it will automatically check whether the reordering rule should be triggered. So you are less reliable on the scheduler. The scheduler is less important than before, and you can directly activate the reordering rules at reservation. You can see as well that we created a replenishment view. That means that you have now a semi-manual way of actually ordering your goods in between the make to order and the automated reordering rules. And here, as you can see on the page, we have new KPIs in the purchase order that allows you to track the performances of your suppliers. So let's see how it looks like in the system once again. So let me just show you the other product that I'm using. So I have here another beer. I don't have shares, I swear. As you can see, I have 5 days lead time on this product to purchase to my supplier, and I have to mention as well that I have 2 days to actually order the good into my purchase department. And as you can see, I have a minimum stock rule of 5 and 10. So let's see how it's gonna work out if I create a sales order. So here I can create a sales order for this customer. Yeah. And I'm going to set the date on purpose 9 days from now, so that I'm outside of the lead time of the supplier, and I'm going to order 10 units. So I save it. As you can see here, I can directly see at a glance that I have enough goods to deliver this product on time to the customer. I can confirm my sales order. And here, what I can do first is check the availability. I see that I will be able to actually deliver this good on time on the 3rd of October. And as you can see here, I directly switch into a forecasted report view where I can see where are my forecasted levels over time. And I can also see, for instance, that with the existing sales order 41, I'm able to deliver it from the stock. For the 58, I have 7 units in stock that I will use. And I will have a receipt on the 3rd of October that will help me to actually deliver the remaining quantities for the last order that I created. So I'll be on the safe side here, and as you can see, no reordering rule was triggered in that example because I'm above the lead time. It's too early for me to order to my supplier given my 7 days lead time. If I create another sales order here for the, let's say, the same customer and for the same product, I'm going now to sell 15 units, for instance. And here I'm going to send it in 4 days from now. So I'm a bit making it more difficult for me to deliver the items to the customer. As you can see here, it appears in red, meaning that I don't have enough forecasted stock on the 29th that I have selected in my expected date to deliver the item to the customer. I can still confirm my sales order here. And now if we double check in the forecasted report the information, you see actually that I'm going way below 0 units, so I won't have enough to deliver to the customer. More importantly, I'm below my minimum quantity within the lead time to purchase to my supplier, which means that to actually complete the units that are missing, the system automatically created a draft PO for 18 units. So as you can see here, I'm going to show you in the purchase part that we actually have a new PO that has been raised for 18 units of this product automatically at the reservation. I didn't have to run the scheduler at all. It was working as such. And as you can see on the purchase order view, we have added quite interesting features such as the on-time delivery so that we can tell whether the supplier is performing well. And you can also, for instance, ask for confirmation before, some days before the actual receipt of the product to make sure that your supplier is ready to deliver the product to you. So I can confirm the PO, and now everything looks good because if I go into my forecasted report, I'm correcting actually the situation in which I was by actually ordering extra goods to my supplier, and I'm reaching back my minimum in the future. It's important to show you that in the inventory app, we also added the replenishment dashboard that helps you to track all the items that have manual reordering rules. And you can actually either order all at once by following the advice from the system, the quantities to order and the preferred route that has been selected, or you can one by one or several at a time change the order quantity that you want to actually set to order to your supplier. So you can, for instance, decide to deviate from the original order quantity that the system proposed and then order to your supplier. Or you can actually, for these to order directly as such based on the proposal. So as you can see. So you see with this presentation here that we have seen all the new replenishment mechanisms that have been added into Odoo. I think they will be a really great addition to what already existed in the software before. But we also worked on other small adjustments that are interesting to explain here. For instance, we revamped the expiry dates, which means that on the settings of the product, you can define the different dates and they are going to be automatically aligned when you receive the items. More importantly, you have alerts in the inventory report that help you to actually remove the items that might be out of dates into your stock. And finally, we have a warning message now on the delivery orders that make sure that when you have a serial number, a lot number, for which the expiry date is out of date, we directly warn the operator processing the delivery order that there is one of the lots that shouldn't be delivered to the customer. So that's very interesting if you work, for instance, in the food industry where expiry dates are used quite a lot. I think it's an interesting revamp that you should consider when you look at Odoo 14. Another and the final feature that I want to present is the fact that now you can directly sign a delivery order. We transferred actually the signed functionality onto the delivery order. So one of your employees delivering the goods to your customer can actually ask the customer to directly sign the document, and this is going to be stored into your system on the document, and you'll have actually the information on the report on the delivery slip that it has been signed by the customer. So that's the end of my presentation. I think I've shown how we've been addressing the different pain points that I mentioned at the beginning. And I think Odoo will become a game changer tool for you if you are to adopt Odoo 14. I think that I'm really excited about the new features that we have added in Odoo 14, and I'm also excited about what is upcoming for the next version. So I hope we'll be able to meet physically speaking at the next Odoo Experience 2021. But in the meantime, I'll make sure to answer your questions right now.
Hello everyone, thanks for staying tuned to this Q&A live session with Michael.
Hello everyone.
My name is Quentin and I'll be asking the questions in the chat. We've seen that there are a lot of questions. We'll have about like 8 minutes to answer and to try to answer all of them. So hopefully we'll be able to do that. If not, we have also other talks about inventory later on today, and you will also be able to talk with Michael during the demo booth of today at 6 p.m. Later on. So let's start with the first questions. We had a few of them regarding our apps. We were asked when will be there an Android native app that is able to use integrated hardware barcode scanner?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, the advantage of the Odoo barcode app is that you can use it either in your browser from your mobile app, or you can also use the Odoo app that is available both on Android and iOS from Apple, which means that basically you can use it as a native app on your smartphone or on a mobile scanner that would have an Android system, for instance. So yeah, there is no issue about that.
All right. Maybe another questions about barcodes. Are there any barcodes that we recommend to use, for example?
I would advise you to go on the odoo.com page. We have a list of hardwares that we recommend, but typically what I would recommend It's a barcode that runs indeed an Android version, one of the latest, and for which you also have a touch screen. So for instance, we have experience with the Zebra scanners that are quite good, like the TC20, which is a quite cheap choice if you want to go with barcode scanning and remote barcode scanning in your warehouse.
All right, thanks. Another questions was about, it's maybe more a technical question, but we were asked, are we still using quants in the V14?
Yeah, we're still using quants in V14, so there was not, they didn't make any change on that between V13 and V14, so the behavior will remain the same in terms of the computation of quantities. So the inventory report and the inventory valuation will be computed in the same way as before. So there is no change on that aspect.
All right. We also had a lot of highs to Frederic. So we also picked one of Frederic's questions, and he doesn't really understand how the replenishment rule view works. He's asking if those lines are suggested automatically by the system.
Yeah. So basically, the idea is that we have an additional option on the reordering rules. So you can decide to make them either automated, which means that they are going to be triggered based on the scheduler, so on a weekly or daily basis. It depends, of course, on the frequency at which you activate the scheduler. But you can also decide to put them as a manual way of working, which means that you'll have that replenishment view that will be created. And Odoo will actually show you the reordering rules that should be triggered. So you still have the choice with these manual reordering rules to decide whether you are going to launch or not the replenishment and what quantities you believe should be ordered. So for instance, if you have a suggested quantity of 50, but you believe that 40 is enough, you can change the quantity and actually order 40 only. And the advantage as well is that you can decide to bypass the actual route that you have, for instance, on the product or on the product category, and you can decide to assign another route on the manual replenishment itself. So actually, it's I would say it's a new mechanism that comes in between the make to order on one side and the automated reordering rules that we used to know in the past that were triggered by the scheduler. So it's kind of a semi-manual way of handling your procurements now in Odoo. And I think, for instance, it would be very useful for a store that has to handle his stock and that will have to actually check on a daily basis, okay, what are the replenishments that I need to make? Shall I reorder to the central warehouse, or shall I reorder my goods, for instance, to another store from the network, for instance? So that's very powerful, I would say. It's a great addition to Odoo 14.
Okay, thanks for the explanation. I hope it's clear, Fred, this question. We had also another question related to being able to kind of consolidate one PO. So the question is here, if the system created two different POs for items, what can you do with it? Is it flexible?
So if the two POs are already created as separate records, I would say, there is no mechanisms for you to actually group them into one. But actually, as it was explained in the chat, I saw an answer. Actually, if you keep the new replenishments under draft RFQ, you can actually continue to group the items into that single RFQ. So you'll have a group PO in the end if you keep on having one draft RFQ in your list of purchase orders. So it should be done, the grouping should be done before the confirmation of the PO. Yeah. Afterwards, of course, it's tricky to group the items together.
Yeah, indeed. Also, maybe another one about barcodes again. We were asked if it does work offline as well.
I would say the answer is yes and no. So basically you can use it offline if you have already loaded the picking or the batch picking in advance. And as soon as you have loaded the information on your barcode scanner, you can start to scan the items, the quantities. There will be the barcode from the products, the barcodes from the location, they will be loaded in the cache. And you can actually process the entire picking or the entire batch picking in an offline mode. But if you want to go further and validate the batch picking, you need to reconnect, of course, to the server in order to actually validate the picking or the batch picking. So it works offline if you have already loaded the picking or the batch picking on your barcode scanner.
Right. Another question from Mohammed. He was asking, can we now scan a serial number barcode rather than the product barcode and then afterwards the serial number itself?
Yeah, so it's a good question. So before, I think that's something that already changed in V13, so that's also available in V14. Before, you had to follow a very precise sequence when you were using the barcode application of Odoo. You had to scan first the product and then the serial number to actually receive the items that were tracked by serial numbers. Now what you can do, if you have received them for the first time, when you process them in internal transfer or in delivery orders, you can directly scan the serial number, and Odoo will automatically identify the product that is attached to that serial number, which means that you save a scan and it's faster, of course, to process those items. But that's, I think, workable from V13 on.
Okay. Okay, nice. I don't see maybe other questions that we can answer fast because we don't have a lot of time anymore.
30 seconds left.
But yeah, I would suggest you guys to really go in the demo booth in order to find real answers to your questions. You can easily go on the experience.odoo.com website, and from there on the top menus you will see community, and there you can see the booths related to logistics, and you will find our developers and also other experts. And later on today, also Michael will be there to help you. Thank you very much for watching.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Bye.